On the 6th of March 1987, the MS Herald of Free Enterprise, a car and passenger ferry, capsized just minutes after leaving the Belgian port of Zeebrugge, bound for Dover, England. On board were 539 people, passengers and crew. At 6:05 p.m., the Herald departed on what should have been a routine crossing, but something was catastrophically wrong. The ferry's massive bow doors had been left wide open. No one had closed them. The assistant bosun, whose job it was to close them, had been asleep in his cabin. The officer responsible for ensuring they were closed had assumed they were. The captain had no way of knowing. There was no indicator light, no warning system. As the ferry waves began washing through the open bow doors onto the vehicle deck, water poured in, tons of it. Within minutes, the ferry began to list violently to one side. At 6:28 p.m., just 23 minutes after departure, the Herald rolled completely onto her side in shallow water. The capsizing took less than 90 seconds. 193 people died, drowned, crushed, or trapped in the freezing North Sea. It was Britain's worst peacetime maritime disaster since the Titanic, and it was entirely preventable. Part 1. The Ferry and the Fatal Flaw. The MS Herald of Free Enterprise. Built in 1980, the Herald was a roll-on, roll-off ferry, a ro-ro ferry where vehicles drive on through bow doors onto a large open vehicle deck, then drive off at the destination. This design allowed fast loading and unloading, making crossings efficient and profitable. But ro-ro ferries had a critical vulnerability. If water entered the vehicle deck, a huge, open, undivided space, it could slosh freely from side to side. This free surface effect dramatically reduces stability and can cause rapid capsizing. The rule was simple: never let water onto the vehicle deck. The Dover-Zeebrugge route. The Herald operated between Dover, England, and Zeebrugge, Belgium, a popular route for day trippers buying cheap beer, wine, and cigarettes in Belgium. The crossing took about 4 to 5 hours. The corporate culture. Townsend Thoresen, owned by P&O, operated in an intensely competitive market. The pressure was constant. Fast turnarounds, on-time departures, cost-cutting. Speed and punctuality were everything. Safety concerns took second place. The ignored warning. In 1984, a captain wrote to management suggesting indicator lights on the bridge to show whether bow doors were open or closed. Management rejected the proposal as unnecessary expense. This decision would prove fatal. Part 2. March 6, 1987. The Fatal Voyage. The passengers, 459 people, mostly British day trippers returning from Belgium, families with children, couples, groups of friends, plus 80 crew members, 539 people total. The fatal errors. 1. Mark Stanley, assistant bosun. His job? Close the bow doors after vehicle loading. What happened? He went to his cabin and fell asleep. The bow doors remained wide open. 2. Chief Officer Leslie Sable. His job? Verify doors were closed before reporting ship ready. What happened? He assumed Stanley had closed them. He didn't check. He reported to the bridge that the ship was ready to sail. 3. Captain David Lurie. Received ready-to-sail report, had no way to verify door status, no indicator lights. Assumed everything was in order. Additional problem, the ship had taken on ballast water to adjust trim for loading, but it hadn't been pumped out. This meant the bow was riding low, the open bow doors were even closer to the water line. 6:05 p.m. Departure. The Herald departed Zeebrugge with bow doors wide open, bow riding low, and 539 people on board. No one knew anything was wrong. Part 3. The capsizing. 90 seconds to disaster. 6:05 to 6:27 p.m. Water flooding in. As the Herald picked up speed, water began washing through the open bow doors onto G deck, the vehicle deck. At first a trickle, then more, then tons of water flooding in. The water sloshed violently from side to side. The ship began to list to starboard. 6:27 p.m. The list. Suddenly, the ship tilted violently. Passengers were thrown across lounges, furniture slid, glasses smashed, people screamed. The list increased rapidly, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees. 6:28 p.m. Capsized. In approximately 90 seconds, the Herald rolled completely onto her starboard side in shallow water. The capsizing took less than 90 seconds. What people experienced: lower decks on the starboard side instantly submerged, people drowned in freezing darkness. Upper decks tilted 90 degrees, people fell, crushed by furniture, trapped in wreckage. Vehicle deck, cars and trucks sliding, crushing people, water flooding in. Complete chaos, terror, death. Part 4. The rescue and aftermath. The rescue. Belgian emergency services responded within minutes. Rescue boats and helicopters converged on the capsized ferry. They found people clinging to the exposed hull, floating in freezing water, trapped inside air pockets. Hero: Andrew Parker, a passenger and former paratrooper who organized human chains, pulled dozens of people to safety, worked tirelessly in freezing conditions. Later awarded the George Medal. The death toll: 193 people, 150 passengers, 38 crew members, 5 divers or rescuers during salvage. 346 survived, but many were injured and all were traumatized. Most victims drowned in submerged sections, crushed by sliding vehicles, or died from hypothermia in the 6-degree C water. Part 5. The investigation and legacy. The Sheen Inquiry. Justice Sheen's public inquiry was damning. He identified the immediate causes: Stanley asleep, Sabel didn't check, Lurie couldn't verify, but went deeper. His famous statement: "From top to bottom, the body corporate was infected with the disease of sloppiness." The corporate failures: rejected safety improvements, indicator lights, to save money. Inadequate procedures relied on assumption, not verification. Pressured captains to maintain schedules over safety. Ignored crew safety warnings. Prioritized profits over lives. The recommendations: Justice Sheen mandated sweeping changes. Indicator lights showing bow door status, mandatory on all ferries. CCTV to verify door closure. Positive reporting: officers must confirm doors closed, not just raise concerns if they're not. Better crew training and manning levels. Corporate culture must prioritize safety. The impact: within weeks, all RORO ferries were required to install indicator lights. Ferry safety was revolutionized worldwide. New regulations, better design, improved training. Criminal charges were brought against P&O and 7 individuals for corporate manslaughter, but all were eventually dropped due to insufficient evidence under existing law. No one was criminally convicted, though this led to eventual reform of corporate manslaughter law. The Herald itself was salvaged months later and scrapped in 1988. Conclusion: On March 6, 1987, the MS Herald of Free Enterprise departed Zeebrugge with 539 people on board and bow doors wide open. Within 23 minutes, the ferry capsized. In 90 seconds, it rolled onto its side. 193 people died in the freezing North Sea. They died because a crew member fell asleep, an officer didn't check, a captain couldn't verify, a company rejected a simple safety improvement to save money. The disaster was entirely preventable. A few £100 for indicator lights would have saved 193 lives. Rest in peace to the 193 victims. You were families returning from a day trip. You were workers doing your jobs. You boarded a ferry for a routine crossing and died because corporate negligence valued profit over safety. Your deaths changed ferry safety forever, but the changes came too late for you. March 6, 1987, the day a ferry capsized in 90 seconds, and the disease of sloppiness killed 193 people. Britain's worst peacetime maritime disaster since Titanic. All preventable, never forgotten. The Fear Files posts videos covering the true stories behind some of history's greatest disasters. The channel is made possible by supporters on Patreon and YouTube channel members. Huge thanks to everyone who supports this channel. If you found this documentary informative, please like and subscribe to the channel. Your support makes this content possible. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video.